bad decision making right here. Sup peeps, it's Percolating, and I'm not gonna lie, it's super late at night. I totally should have recorded this a lot earlier, but I decided to do a bunch of stuff instead. I did a bunch of other things, which I don't completely regret, but god dang it, it's late. So this is probably gonna be a shorter episode, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't think I'm gonna be able to last the whole hour and a half that I usually go. So, all that being said, welcome back to Storytime Saturday. Today we're playing Cupid. You guys already knew that. It's in the title, for goodness sake. The thumbnail's amazing. But you know what? It's all good. We're going to go ahead and we're going to continue where we last left off. We're going to talk about our food of the session. Some warmed up pizza. Because that's all I could really find. Even though I may be tired, I'm excited to continue playing. So, let's jump into this. So last time we left off, we had Rosa, who was just almost sexually assaulted by Emily, who was drunk off her ass because she was really mad with Sir William. She thought William was cheating on her. Then turns out, or so we think, William wasn't cheating on her, so we think, and she almost cheated on William with Rosa. They had a girl-on-girl thing. It got really, really explicit and such. And then Rosa went back. Rosa kind of came to her senses midway, and Emily was like, oh my god, I shouldn't be doing this, and ran down to William, about to say, hey, you don't want to marry me? Like, more or less, she was going to be like, I'm a cheating whore, don't marry me. I'm a horrible, horrible person. No, no, no. And William's like, whatever it is, it's okay, darling. We'll talk about it in the morning when you're a little less stressed about it, and blah, blah, blah. And at that moment, she realized, God, this is why I love this man. Even when I've done some of the shittiest things, and he wants to wait until I'm better before he tries to talk to me about it, and blah, blah, blah. And because of that, she's like, since she had told Rosa that I've never even had sex with him fully. It's like, and then she's like, oh, well, that's weird. But, I mean, you could, which made it weirder that the sexual advances came towards Rosa at that moment. And then, like, afterwards, Emily went to William and it's like, hey, after all this shit that I just almost put you through, I want you to have sex with me. He's like, nah, we'll do it tomorrow. If you're still up to it, we can do it tomorrow. And she's like, no, do me now. Take me. And then it got really explicit. And then it got weird towards the end because it slowly kind of turned into some weird, almost like a third person was there while they were having sex. It was really, really weird, and I don't really understand what was happening, but that's my best synopsis of the situation. Now, that was a really long piece to just get you guys caught up in case for some reason you haven't read through or haven't listened through. I know you probably have if you're continuing the series, but that's my little quick catch-up to remind you of what happened last week, so you don't have to watch it all the way back, but if you want to, you can. Whatever. You have choices in this lifetime. So, all that being said, we're going to continue. We were left off with Rosa here, stood in front of the door to Catherine's room. Her hand raised to knock, but she did not move. Doubt was creeping into her mind like a spider crawling on a wall. She remembered the feeling of the hunger from the night they kissed. It was both familiar and utterly alien, like an instinct and urge she hadn't felt for a long time. A shiver ran down her spine at the memory. She's avoiding me, isn't she? She hadn't seen Catherine for a few days since that night. She had been spending a lot of her time alone, locked away in her room. Whenever Rosa saw her in the chateau, she would excuse herself and leave. Oh. Rosa never got the courage to push the issue. I said Emily. I meant Catherine. That was my bad. That entire time I said Emily. I meant Catherine. I'm an idiot. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm hella tired, but I'm also really excited to record this. I need to record this. Scheduling. Keep it up. But days had passed, and Catherine's behavior began to worry her even more. Okay, here we go with Mother. She's selfish just like everyone else. She's probably repulsed by you. I mean, if I had to be honest, I'd probably say the second one. I don't really think Selfish does anything else for her, so she's probably repulsed by you. What did you expect? After what you did to her, you little monster. Oh, Lord Jesus. Of course she will avoid you like the plague. Ta-ta-ta. No matter. She's never going to love you like your mother does. Like all of the others, she's going to leave you in the inn, and then you're all alone. Only Mother will stay with you forever and love you. So be a good child and listen to what I tell you. Rosa bit her lower lip. This was all her fault, wasn't it? She needed to make it right. If Rosa talked to her properly, she was sure they could come to an understanding. She had to explain to her. What exactly? They had both been drunk and the kisses didn't mean anything. Her stomach churned at this thought. In the end, it didn't matter what Rosa wanted. Catherine obviously regretted what happened. She didn't want to lose her friend because of too much wine. Rosa gently knocked on Catherine's door. Catherine, may I come in? Please, Catherine, I'm sorry for the mess, but can we talk? Rosa waited for an answer. None came. Rosa turned the handle slowly and entered. Oh, Lord. Oh, my. Usually Catherine's room was brightly lit. The windows let in a fresh breeze, often carrying the sweet smell of flowers in spring. Right now, however, the curtains were drawn close. The few candles burning on the desk weren't enough to banish the darkness completely. The air hung heavy in the room. Catherine didn't turn around when the door was open. She just stood there, unmoving, in front of a wall. The sound of scratching along a rough surface filled the air. Rosa felt a shiver run down her spine at the sound, and her muscles tensed instinctively. She approached Catherine slowly and apprehensively. When she came closer, she could hear that Catherine was whispering the same few words over and over again. He loves me. He loves me now. Catherine giggled. He loves me. He loves me not. Catherine, are you all right? Rosa stepped next to Catherine and peered at her outstretched hand. In the dim light, it took a moment for her to make sense of what she saw. Oh, Lord Jesus, I was not ready. We jumped right back into this, didn't we? We jumped right back into this. Lord Jesus, okay. So Catherine's starting to go crazy. That's where we are in the story. Lord Jesus. Oh my God. Are her eyes open? I can't even tell. It's so creepy. Catherine was scratching at the wall. The damage she had done to the wall was nothing compared to what she had done to her fingers. They were dripping with blood from where her skin was cracked and peeled back. Cath? Oh my God, Catherine! Stop! Rosa's guts twisted horribly. Oh my God, she's been doing drugs. She's been doing the heroines. Oh man. She grabbed Catherine's shoulder to turn around and turn away from the wall. She blinked a couple times before finally reacting to Rosa's presence. Tears welled up in Catherine's bloodshot eyes at the sight of her friend spilling over her pale cheeks and chapped lips. Why did they... Oh my God, that's a subtle change, but why? Why did they do that? She held on tightly to Rosa and started sobbing uncontrollably. Cath, what's going on? Why are you hurting yourself? Catherine tried to pull herself together as best she could, wiping her nose on the sleeve of her bloody dress. It was heart-wrenching to look at the mess her friend had become. Oh, Rosa, you need to help me. You need to protect me from him. Don't let him touch me. Who? Let him what? Why do you need me to protect you? Suddenly, Catherine shushed her, a finger to her lips with a scared expression on her face. She leaned an ear towards the door and listened intensely for a moment. Oh, he's here! The scared expression turned into manic frightened glee. Frightening glee. I think he's coming. William, honey. William, I love you. Oh, man. After yelling the last words, Catherine started sobbing again, with more tears streaming down her face. Before Rosa could try to console her, however, her sobs faded into hysterical laughter. Jesus, man. It barely left time for her to grasp her breath. Oh, William, I love the way you pull me close to hug me. And how are you to everyone you meet, and how kind you are to everyone you meet. And your eyes. What's going on here? William stood in the door frowning. His eyes wandered across the room and caught sight of Catherine. His face froze in shock. Lord Jesus. Catherine stared wide-eyed for a second. Then she snarled at him like a ferocious animal. Oh my God, the expressions. You bastard! Get out of my room! Get lost! She stormed over to the desk and grabbed a letter opener from the table. With the weapon in a firm grip and malice in her eyes, she rushed to William. Don't you dare show your face to me! Catherine, no! The knife plunged into William's arm. Blood quickly stained his sleeve red, but Catherine only recoiled to strike back with no hint of stopping. Oh my God! Catherine! They wrestled for a moment until William was able to grab Catherine's hand. She dropped the letter opener and slumped to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Rosa quickly picked up the blade and stepped out of reach. When she turned again, William had already pulled Catherine into a tight embrace. Between her sobs and hiccups, Rosa could hear her apologizing. Oh God, I'm so sorry. William, what? I'm so sorry. Do you love me? Please, William, do you love me? She repeated the question over and over again. No matter how many times Williams reassured her, it was probably a good idea to find something to calm her down. Rosa didn't feel completely at ease doing so, but she left her friend alone with the Marquise for a few minutes. Later, she returned with a glass of water laced with valerian root. God. William had already coaxed Catherine to lie down on her bed while Rosa helped her drink the nightcap. They watched her in silence as she drifted into a fitful sleep. William and Rosa left the room. They didn't speak for a while, both still dazed and shocked by the turn of events. Ta-ta-ta. How's your arm? How's your arm? William hid the injured arm away from view. Da-da-da. Fine. Just a scratch. Just a flesh wound. The bleeding hadn't stopped yet. Rosa could tell the cut was deeper than William let on. What is happening? What has gotten into Catherine? William just shrugged with a cold expression of worry on his face. I wish I knew, Rosa. The state she is in scares me, to be honest. It might be an onset of an episode waiting to happen. Like her sister before. Rosa's mouth tightened. How dare you say that? She is not crazy. Rosa searched his face for traces of a lie, but it was like a mask contorted by worry. She couldn't tell whether he was lying or telling the truth. She asked me to protect her from you. Did you hurt her? You know I wouldn't. She's unwell. It seems I am the target of her psychotic state. That is all I know. But why? Stop. Stop it, Rosa. It hurts me too, seeing her like this. Please stop questioning me further. I'm going to call for a physician. Please stay with her in the meantime. See that she doesn't harm herself again. For a moment, he met her eyes. Before she could say more, however, he turned around and left. Tat-tat-tat. See if his pants have caught fire yet, child. Tat-tat-tat. There was nothing she could do about him for now. Oh my God. Rosa left to get a bowl of fresh water and a towel to tend to Catherine's fingers. Catherine had an uneasy sleep while Rosa cleaned her wounds as best she could. She muttered, squealed, and whimpered like a child. It seemed like she was having a nightmare, but Rosa didn't dare wake her before the physician arrived. Instead, she stroked her hair, told her that everything would be all right. She tried to appease the growing confusion of voices in her head. What had happened between Catherine and William? Their relationship was often erratic, but Rosa dismissed the possibility that this was one of their usual fights. Rosa remembers Catherine's face filled with utter spite at the man. She had never seen that much hatred in Catherine. After a few minutes, Catherine's eyelids fluttered open. She looked around with some confusion, then her gaze settled on Rosa. Tears welled up in her eyes. Rosa. Rosa held her outstretched hand. Her heart broke when she saw Catherine wince. Oh, Rosa, I'm so scared. Everything is such a mess. It's going to be all right, Cath. Don't worry now. Just try to sleep some more. No, you don't understand. Catherine tried to sit up, but Rosa pushed her down gently. You need to rest, Cath. I hate him. This is all his fault. She sniffed, but settled down on her pillow once more. When she spoke again, it was in a whisper. Rosa, She chewed on her dry, chapped lips for a moment as if she couldn't get the words out. I don't think I love him anymore. What? A dry sob escaped her, followed by tears rolling down her cheeks. Had Catherine really just said that? But I don't understand this. When I think of him, Her voice cracked. She shuddered under the blanket like an ill breeze had just sprung up in the room. It's like bugs are crawling under my skin. I can't bear to look at him anymore. I just can't. I can't even say his name. Why? Do you remember when exactly you started feeling this way? That night. Rosa winced. Catherine covered her face with her hands. It was a horrible night. Tut-tut-tut. Rosa's chest hurt. Was this her fault? She didn't know what she had done, but didn't she do something to her? I'm sorry. Catherine went on like she hadn't heard her. I went to his room. We spent the night together. Tut-tut-tut. Rosa waited for Catherine to continue, but the girl stared blankly. She just stopped speaking, as if forgetting she had ever spoke at all. Cath? Did he hurt you that night? No. Maybe? Catherine shook her head. I don't know. She grabbed her head and sobbed. The grip on Rosa's heart tightened. How could this be? Her eyes drowned in tears. I love him, Rosa, don't I? I remember everything. I love him. I know I do. I'm sure I do. But I hate him too. To the very core. I want to hurt him and punish him. For something. I want to snuff out the breath from his throat. But sometimes Catherine's eyes went blank. I just don't care for him at all. Sometimes I feel nothing. Nothing at all. And that scares me more. She laid on the bed, quiet now, letting the tears flow out of her eyes without wiping them. I'm going mad, Rosa. Catherine. I am, aren't I? Like my sister. Like my mother. It runs in our blood. They said I am the child of a madwoman. They said I'm going to turn out exactly like her. Rosa stroked her hair and tried her best to soothe her, saying that everything would be all right. They were empty words, but she didn't know what else to say. She wanted them to be true so badly for her friend's sake as well as her own. Was William really the cause of Catherine's confusion and pain? Pangs of guilt prickled her like tiny needles. Or was this her fault? Rubbish, you fool! This is all his fault. I can feel it. We must get to the bottom of this. Tat-tat-tat. Yes, Mother. Rosa looked down on her best friend and nodded slightly to herself. Everything will be all right, Catherine. I promise. She would make it right. She would make it right, all right, somehow. She had to. The physician arrived shortly, but he did little to help Catherine. Catherine never again regained her personality. She remained moody and irritable, breaking out into fits of hysterical laughter or heartbreaking sobs at seemingly random intervals. William and Rosa would take turns to tend to her. Her moods fluctuated, her temper uncontrollable. There were times she begged for attention from William, almost clinging to him in despair, never letting him out of her sight. Other times she couldn't stand his very presence. Soon, neither William nor Rosa could console her anymore. She withdrew entirely from the household. She starved herself, stopped coming to the meals, stopped caring for herself. Her manic episodes degraded to long stretches of blank silence. Emptiness ruled her life. Looking at her eyes in those last days, it was like a fire had been snuffed out from behind them. Like the star that had been shining through them had imploded. Chapter 5. Psyche. Like I said, guys, it's completely my fault, but I'm way tired. Like, don't get me wrong, that was hella interesting, and what we got, that little bit of time that we played was really intense. Honestly, I don't know if I can do much more of this tonight. Like, as much as I love the story, I can't physically put myself in this right now. I'm so tired. I have to work tomorrow and all sorts of other stuff. Like, in time for me to also be able to edit and do this, I'm gonna have to keep this one super duper short, which is obviously not the point of Storytime Saturdays, I know, but for today it's gonna have to be an exception. I want to get a video out, but at the same time, I don't want to sacrifice the quality per se. So in the little bit of time that I do have to edit this, this should still come out very, very well. And I do apologize that it is super duper short, but just to recap what we did just see, because it was ridiculous and it was crazy. We got to witness Catherine slowly going mad. Like, there's really no other way to put it, but we just read through how Catherine slowly went mad. She thinks it's in her blood. She thinks it's in her blood, but at the same time, she thinks it's William's fault. William had that weird split thing when they were having sex, so I'm not sure how that supposedly plays into it. Was it him? Was it her? like which one of them was the one imagining things or seeing or hearing things, if that makes sense. And what are we gonna do about it? What is Mother obviously thinks it's all William. Rosa thinks it might be her. There's so many intertwining issues that we actually don't know who to put a blame on right now. It's crazy. It's almost like multiple different things happened, and you don't know which one was the cause, or which one is the cause, or which one's the bad guy. You can't place a bad guy right now. As far as I know right now, we could very well be the bad guy. In the fact that we set Rosa off by cheating, if that makes sense. By having her almost cheat with William with us, that might be the thing that set her off. So like, I don't know. I can't really place who I think the bad guy is, which is great storytelling because yeah, it's keeping us jumping, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Like it's literally we do not know. Maybe you guys have a better idea. If you guys do, let me know down in the comments below. What do you think is going on right now? Like, let me know, because I am honestly interested in what you guys are thinking of the series so far. And like I said, I'm really sorry that this one's super short. I can't go for too long simply because it's 12 o'clock in the morning. I have to be up for the early shift tomorrow, and it's a double. But in that time, I also, like, in a break that I have in between there, I'm going to try to edit this together. So hopefully it'll all still come out really, really well. It should, in theory, come out perfectly fine. But, you know, fingers crossed and whatnot. Guys, it's been Bergman. It's been real. It's been freaky. It's been real freaky. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.